What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back for another video, and today we're going to be looking at some NHL trade rumors from Specters Hockey. Now I'm going to be combining the May 30th edition and the May 31st, a little bit of both of those, because the 31st edition has only a couple topics, and I kind of wanted to talk about something I skipped over a little bit because I didn't make one of those videos yesterday. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this video, and if you're new, make sure to subscribe if you like the video, of course. And yeah, we're going to get to talking. Hopefully everybody's enjoying the playoff action that's on right now, of course, between the Bruins and the St. Louis Blues, and in the NBA Finals with the Toronto Raptors, who they took a 1-0 lead over the Golden State Warriors, which is really awesome. And of course, the Blues and Bruins series is tied at 1 currently when we're filming this video, because it is May 31st. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is Phil Kessel. And basically the rumors around Phil Kessel is that Minnesota and Pittsburgh were talking about a deal that would send Phil Kessel and Jack Johnson to the Minnesota Wild for Victor Rask and Jason Zucker. So of course, with Rask and Johnson, that would be a swap of like a fresh start, basically, although Johnson's contract is much worse in my eyes. And then Zucker is the Phil Kessel and swap, and of course there might have been some other pieces. But it looks like Phil Kessel, of course we already heard basically that Phil Kessel didn't want to go there, that he wanted to go to a Stanley Cup contender. But this is an interesting sort of tactic with Phil Kessel here, because the Minnesota Wild are a better team than some of the other options that he probably has in mind. And it makes me think that maybe he just doesn't want to play with an aging group there, although they do have some younger players, but like not nearly as many as other teams do. With the aging core that they have, maybe Phil was like, okay, listen, I know I'm not really the youngest player either, like he's like 32 years old. But maybe Phil wants to play with a younger team that's on the up and up, you know, going towards the playoffs and the Stanley Cup Finals possibly. So there have been some suggestions, and I've been one of these people. I've been saying this for like a year now, that I think that it makes the most sense that Phil Kessel wants to play in a place where, first of all, he's not in a huge hockey market. I think he likes flying under the radar and also being the second star. But I also thought, okay, maybe he wants to go to a place like Arizona because Rick Tocchet is the coach there. He had a really good relationship with him, and I've been saying this for a long time. You guys can go back and watch the videos. I've been saying this for probably over a year now, that I thought that if this was going to happen, because there were rumors last year that Phil would likely go to the Arizona Coyotes. Maybe that's a choice of his. I'm not positive, but it makes sense. And it says here in the article that for Phil Kessel, Pittsburgh's going to be looking for probably a younger asset and one that can still put up points, because Pittsburgh is not folding here. They're trying to, you know, save themselves some salary here and have a different approach. So suggested here was Clayton Keller, but I can't see in a world where the Coyotes would want to do that, because Keller is a younger scorer. Of course, he's not really on the same point level right now as Phil Kessel, but you never know. A player grows, and Keller's quite a good young player. So, and that kind of also, like, I don't want to be down on Arizona here, but it kind of also erases the narrative that Kessel only wants to play for a contender, because if he turned down the Wild but then go to the Coyotes, I mean, the Wild are in a better spot, most would say, although the Coyotes look like they could be a really good team. You know, you're kind of playing a game here, I guess. But Phil's got the opportunity to pick a team, because he does have that no trade list that he can pick the teams that he would like to be, you know, traded to. And again, I think that Kessel can bring back a pretty good return. There's also some talk here about maybe him going to the Dallas Stars. That would be very interesting. So there are some options there. I do think that he is interested in Arizona, and I think Jeremy Roenick had even said it. But like, until somebody like Bob McKenzie or Elliot Friedman or Chris Johnston or somebody like that says something else, it's kind of going to be a guessing game unless a trade just happens. So that was the thing I wanted to talk about in the May 30th edition. But the 31st edition starts off with some talks with Jeff Skinner. Now, I was going to make an individual video about this, but it looks like the numbers are kind of already out there. I was planning to make a video about how much Jeff Skinner will get paid, but maybe I still can. But or if he'll stay in Buffalo, because I was kind of worried where there wasn't, and again, I'm a Leaf fan, but like I like when players, they go to a new team and they excel there, and it looks like Skinner has, and I was like, okay, this is good for Buffalo. They need some scoring there, and I was worried maybe he was going to leave after a kind of a disappointing season, one that they should have been better, to be honest. Goaltending didn't really give them what they wanted there, but anyways, Bob McKenzie talked about the fact that it looks like the Jeff Skinner contract is almost done. And while I'm recording this, it might be done, and this part of the video might not be accurate when you're watching this. But it looks like it's going to be pretty close to being done here. He believes that the contract will be between $8.5 to $9.5 million per season, which to me seems a little high. But if Buffalo wants to keep him around, especially on probably an 8-year deal, that's what they're going to have to do. So Skinner wants to try to get a deal in the $9 million range. Apparently the Sabres would like the deal to be in the $8 million range, so there's a bit of a gap, but they might be in between there. And the Spectre's note here says that he believes it will be close to $9 million. I do believe that it could be a little bit of an overpayment, but again, if you're getting him for those 8 years, you really want to try to keep him around. That you're going to have to pay a little bit of a premium. Now, he's an unrestricted free agent, so he could have tested the market. So they're paying to make sure he doesn't even get there, to be enticed by other teams. So that's probably why they're paying or offering a little bit more, but we'll probably get an official update on that within the next couple days. The next thing here, real quickly, is about maybe the Sabres trying to trade Rasmus Ristolainen, that they could do it. There's enough of a track record. I have the Sabres trading him to Winnipeg. The surroundings would allow Ristolainen to get better results. So I don't know if it would be Winnipeg again. I don't even know if Buffalo really wants to move Ristolainen right now. But if they did, they'd probably get a solid return. Nothing crazy, but they'd get a solid return. But we'll update that when there's more information. This was just a really quick one. That was on TSN. Scott Cullen had brought that up on WGR 550. So when there's more on Rasmus Ristolainen, we will get to that. Now, the next thing here is about Nikita Zaitsev. So in the video I talked yesterday about Nikita Zaitsev requesting a trade for personal reasons. He has 5 seasons remaining on a contract that has an average annual value of $4.5 million. And it looks like him, Dubas and his agent, or Dubas and Zaitsev's agent, Dan Milstein, were basically just declining comments, not wanting to say anything there. But Nikita Zaitsev, I believe, has gone out and quoted, again, don't quote me on this, but it looks like he said something around the lines of that he would like to be moved, but at the same time, if Toronto does keep him, he will play. But it looks like the Leafs are kind of thinking here, man, if we can get out of this contract, that's just more money that we can spend elsewhere, but it still will create a little bit of a hole on that blue line, and by a little, I mean, it depends on what they do. But I think some Leaf fans are overreacting to the point where, because Dermott's going to be out probably for a month to start the season, I don't think there's too much to overreact about. I think the Leafs blue line is kind of shaping up, even with the losses of Gardner, Hainsey, and possibly Zaitsev. I think that Calle Rosen is a lock because of his contract. I've said that before. I think the Leafs have a little bit of faith in Andreas Borgman to at least fill a hole for a little bit. And then, of course, you have Muzzin, you have Riley. When Dermott comes back, there's your top 3 guys. And if they pick up a guy on a cheaper salary like Colin Miller from Vegas, he's under $4 million. Like, there's ways to get around it. And I see people freaking out like, oh, they only have this much, they only have this much. Guys, there's a ton of moves that the Leafs can make. And I think that people are going to be surprised with some of the moves that are made. I try to explain it all the time. I'm going to make a video on it. People will continue to disagree with me, but I really do believe that there's a good chance that he moves. But, well, he moves, and guys like Connor Brown as well. So the Spectre's note in here is a little interesting. So he said, I'm not saying the Leafs can't do it. However, that $4.5 million annual salary cap hit for the next 5 seasons won't be enticing. He's a right-handed shot. He's not, like, old. Like, he's still at a decent age, and he looked decent in the playoffs. So I would say that it's not like it's hurting him. Adding a degree of urgency is Zaitsev's modified no-trade clause, which kicks in on July 1st. It'll be a 10-team no-trade list. And I believe Zaitsev or somebody even made, like his agent or Zaitsev even talked about the no-trade clause. So if the Leafs don't want to have to deal with a no-trade clause, they're going to have to move him pretty soon because, you know, it's almost June here. Like, it's literally going to be June tomorrow. So they need to move him within a month. As of tomorrow, at the time I'm recording this on May 31st. So we'll have to see what happens there. But if the Leafs attach a pick to Zaitsev or a prospect, or maybe both, considering, you know, what they might get back, I don't know. But I don't think it's as hard as people are making it out to be. I think there's a lot of teams that, some teams that might even want to hit the cap floor and have a decent defenseman locked in for a little bit, because Zaitsev in another role, and we're all hard on him, I said it yesterday, Zaitsev in another role where he doesn't have to be this defensive defenseman and gets a little bit more power play time, he's better than what he really is. And Babcock doesn't like him in that position, but I personally like Zaitsev more as a guy that can be a little bit more free. I don't like him as a defensive defenseman. He can kill penalties, but when he was on the power play, he was good. But the Leafs already have guys that can play on the power play. Like, they have way more options than Zaitsev. So, it's going to be interesting. So we'll have to see what happens there, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Join the family. It's good to... Why did I say join the family? I say that on my other channel, by the way. I have another channel where I talk about music, but it's join the squad over here on Andrew Piluk Hockey. I really do appreciate you guys, all the new subscribers and views and everything lately. So thanks again for watching. Let me know what you guys think down below about the trades, what could happen, signings. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.